And we're live. Hi, Ben.
Hello, 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 hello.
It's so nice to see you.
Happy Lunes, everybody. Yeah, how are you? Good to see you.
Yeah, it's good to see you.
I feel like I've been gone for a long time, but it's only been one live stream ago.
Yeah. But I don't think you and I have done a live stream in a while.
We haven't done one in, I don't know. I'm not going to try to count.
Hello, everybody.
Time. Yeah.
Yes. So this is nice. It's nice to see you again. So I'm excited for today. We have some fun whiskeys to talk about for our mid-month release tomorrow on what's going to be the first day of fall tomorrow as well.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
It's when fall. I used to get excited for fall because I was like, oh, it's whiskey weather.
It is.
And now my life is such that every season is whiskey season. So, but I used to really celebrate about this. I would plan it out. I would think, all right, what's my first whiskey outdoors? I don't know. Do you guys do this? Do you guys get excited for fall specifically for whiskey reasons? It's become my favorite season. Living in Chicago where we get all the cold weather, but now it's like, hey, every day is a whiskey day in my life. So.
Yes. It is nice though to drink whiskey in cold weather. Like I'm a cold weather person. I prefer it to be cold. So like living here in Southern California is, a little weird. Like I have a massive collection of boots and sweaters. Like I just want to be out in the cold drinking whiskey. So I'm very much looking forward to it. So looks like the whole crew is here. Joseph Horton from Hawaii. Hello. Brian McCoy is here. I hope all is well up in Seattle. We have Eugene from Pennsylvania and Christine, hello from Oregon. So
what's up, Christine? Welcome back. I see Alex. Yes. Who else is recovering from their last outturn? What did I miss? What was guys? I was out on leave for a few weeks, but what did I miss in the last outturn?
Say all good things because it was Zach and I.
Oh, okay. Say wonderful things. But one never warrants a recovery, apparently. So. Yeah,
there were a few whiskeys, so we cruised through a few of those. It was a lot of fun. So
Kyle said from Cali doesn't get real seasons there, but still looking forward to fall.
I know.
Tell me about it.
Let's see. So Alex won Pineapple Met Pigeon. Did you get a chance to try that yet?
Well, I did try that. Which was the cast we released for the gathering, just a few weeks ago. And I know it was a rough time to be out. We released all these casts for the gathering. I was pretty stoked because I had a chance to try, I think, one of them before it was bottled, and I guess it's older now, and it's really matured since. And I just thought it's a wonderful whiskey, and a quirky name too.
Yeah, I like the name, and it's nice because we haven't seen a distillery for in quite some time. I still kind of have my old ones from back in 2018 because I love them so much. I don't want to let them go quite yet, so it's nice to have another one in the books. So. Well,
I love fall football, cooler weather, and pumpkin products. Oh
gosh.
It's amazing how something like a pumpkin spice latte has become so notorious, like in our culture, for being tied to a season. Like it's just such a brilliant marketing, I don't want to call it ploy, but strategy on behalf of Starbucks, who we are unaffiliated with and therefore are not going to talk about further. But it's amazing. I find myself too thinking about PSLs along with whiskey. Anyway.
Yeah, I'd rather have the pumpkin pie.
But you are a baker.
Latte. Yes.
That is something I have not baked. I sidetracked, but I did bake cookies for the first time in my life last week. I just wanted to share that with you and therefore everybody watching. We'll talk about this privately, but.
How was the experience?
Went Berry cask whiskey crazy with it. I just poured up, made all these cookies, uncorked a bottle of pure, it was a Spanish oak sherry butts, 30 point, I can't remember the number, 30 point something, and just kind of had a little bit of a day. And so anyway.
I'll have to give that a whirl. I'll have to bake some cookies.
Jenna is an incredible baker. That's why I'm bringing this up. She's not really talking about that publicly, but I'm going to say that.
No, I just love to bake. I just love sweets and pie and cake and, whiskey, which let's talk about it.
Yeah, talk about it. So I know we have a short list today, right?
We do. tomorrow is our September Mid-Month Outturn, and that will go live at 1 o'clock Eastern time tomorrow. And I believe we have 6 that we're releasing for this outturn. And today we're going to be tasting 4. So I'm ready.
I've done full 2-ounce pours in these glasses just for the reference. Is that 2 ounces? Yeah, that's about an ounce, right?
A little more, maybe.
What do you, when you pour whiskey?
Oh, yours are big.
I went the whole 2-ounce sample.
Holy cow.
No, don't feel like you have to compete here. I thought, one, we've been doing these. I pour the 2 ounce. I pour an ounce in, and then I have these samples with 1 ounce left. And I don't know. I thought when we're tasting this for everybody, this will give more room when you add water. I don't know. It's just it's easier to add water without overdoing it.
Yeah.
So I thought maybe if we do.
Well, the color on this is beautiful.
Yeah. What do we got? What are we starting with?
Yeah. So let's kick this off. Let's start with the first one. So the first one is from a distillery that I rant and rave on quite a bit. But so the first up is Cask 135.19. It's called Easy Lover, and it is an 11-year Highland from an ex-bourbon hogshead at 55.6% ABV. And so the cool thing about this is the initial cask was ex-bourbon hogshead, and then it went into a heavy char new oak hogshead, and I believe it is a number 4 char level on this.
Easy Lover. It's interesting. It's such a evocative aroma. What do you think? I'm jumping in. I guess first impression is I would never have tasted blind. Thought this was 11 years old.
No. There's I don't want to say butterscotch because it's not sticky sweet like butterscotch, but there is a really beautiful, what is that? A brown buttered caramelness to this.
It does have that sort of a toast. We were talking about baking earlier. It does have a toasted sort of dessert,
yeah,
creme brulee type of sort of aroma. Is that?
There you go.
You're the baker.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, creme brulee and oh man, now that's all I'm getting. Now I want one.
Yeah, I think amazing depth. That's in my comment about it, the age being 11 years old and how surprising that is. I think that for me, I attribute that to just the depth right away. It's just put it up to your nose. There's a lot going on, which is just something I think we attribute to finding more regularly in older whiskeys.
Yeah.
But there's no pumpkin in it, but it does. And I know we were joking about the fall and everything, but it does have a very sort of fall-esque, or I think you'd probably call it autumnal aroma. You know what I mean?
It's definitely makes you feel cozy just by smelling it. All right, I'm going in.
And what's the ABV on this one too? I think here. Let me. Banner 2.0. Mm-hmm. We both created banners to post here. There we go. So sorry guys, that's my fault. This is more detailed description. So this is 2 casks on this one. Initial cask, ex-bourbon hogshead, and then finally double matured for a final term in a new oak hogshead. Which I'm sorry, I'm behind you.
Did you? Yeah, I don't want to sway you in any way.
It has a nice dark fruit palate.
Yeah, it is. I feel there are whiskeys where the nose and palate don't match, and that's a great thing, and I always enjoy that. And then there are those whiskeys where, it matches all the way through, and I feel like the nose and palate on this match just beautifully. It is creamy. You have that subtle undertone of that vanilla crust of that creme brulee. It is just all the way through. This is beautiful.
I think it would be easy if tasting blind to mistake this for being some sort of refill sherry cask of a sort. There's this you get a lot of the baking spices that you would typically find in Oloroso sherry. It's, it's kind of, I think the heavy char on the new oak, the double maturation, that just throws everything up in the air. It's such a unique profile in that sense.
It really is. And when I saw the list of, what was kind of coming down the pipeline, and when I saw this, that, that char, that new oak char just is what really kind of piqued my interest. And I was like, I really want to taste that. Obviously it's from, 135, which I'm a fan of, but to have that like heavy char on there is really exciting. So
yeah, I'm warming up to the new oak. It's something, it's been sort of, I don't know I always struggled with new oak, or virgin oak as we call it often in Scotch. I struggled with that for a long time, but I'm really seeing good examples of how it's used in ways that's not overpowering with malt.
Mm-hmm.
Typically, like a new oak, I just find it can easily overpower the malt whiskey character. But this is a good example, like that final term, just a short amount of time really injects a lot of intensity and vibrancy rather into the profile.
Yeah.
With that, while still retaining the malt, I think it's great.
Yeah, I don't find this to be overpowering at all. I think that it gives just like a nice little kick on the end of it, of that kind of roasty, toasty profile.
And that is really
mm-hmm.
That's it. It sounds so cliche when we were just talking about it, but it's like idyllic for fall season.
Oh man. Yeah, I want to be like cozied up in a sweater by like a bonfire drinking whiskey. I'm like in front of my fireplace. This definitely sets a scene for sure. I'm going to read the tasting notes too.
Yeah, please.
So this says aromas of pineapple, pear, and guava, coupled with notes of toasted almonds and Brazil nuts, as we became acquainted with nuances of treacle and oak. So we're close. Creme brulee, treacle. I don't know if that's close-ish, but that kind of creamy nuttiness of the almonds and that toasted element is definitely there. Mm. That is good.
Of course, 39.185 Splinter Studded Spanking comes to mind. Had some of that last night. George, if you're referring to sort of fall weather whiskeys, I think that I do remember that one as being one as well. I think like the oakiness. I think when we think of fall, like, I don't know, Jenna, what do you think of? What sort of whiskey is it? What is a fall whiskey?
I like more spice forward, like something that has like heavy baking spices. I know that can kind of be, pushed into that holiday season, but I really just love those like deep, rich, spicy. Yeah. Those like spice forward, oak forward, just like I want to taste like I'm in the woods in the winter, like in a cabin.
Yeah.
And this does that.
It's a juicy oak and vanilla flavor profile. One that I'm a huge fan of. But it sort of crosses into that spicy and dry, which is the profile that you've been into, I think, a lot of last year, because you do get a little bit of wood. Oh, man, I just went back to it. Like a different.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just first of all shout out to Roy Aquavite. I'm wearing your shirt in honor of our fellow whiskey tuber, and I also have your cap. So these little lids. So I'm going to hold off on this one and come back, I think, after we're done with this, because that was that needs its own moment.
It is. This is a really but I think it definitely fits well in that juicy oak and vanilla profile, because it really is just a juicy, round, viscous whiskey. And that's what I think of when I think of this particular profile.
Yeah, $55.6, $110. Obviously, we are biased. We represent the society. I think that's about as good a value as you'll find in whiskey in terms of experience and just how thrilling it is. Good start.
Good start, yeah. So, all right. So let's do a palate cleanse so we can move on to number 2. All right. Number 2, another flavor profile that I am also Actually, I'm a fan of all of them, really.
Now, did you pick the selection? I am pretty sure you did.
I did pick this selection.
Yeah. All right.
This is a Jenna picked group here. So the second one is, the name on this is so fun.
What?
So cask 113.27 Fun Time Party Greenhouse. This is a 9-year Young and Sprightly from Speyside in a first fill ex-bourbon barrel at 60.7% ABV.
This is like made for you. This is
a Jenna whiskey.
We're venturing into unfamiliar territory for me, but really kind of this is your Fun Time Party Greenhouse.
Yeah, Fun Time Party Greenhouse. I've never been or at a party in a greenhouse before, so I don't know if that's where some of these tasting notes are coming from, but we'll find out.
Yeah, right away. We went from the first one. We had that a couple years. It was an 11-year-old double matured with a new oak. A lot going on. I was not concerned, but going into this Young and Sprightly at 9 years, I thought, oh, this is just gonna be really young and with a lot of notes of alcohol, but it's not at all. It's much more complex and subdued than I thought it was going to be.
I'm getting there's like a element of tiger balm to this. There's like an earthy, herbal tiger balm-ness to this.
Yeah. I mean, it's malty. Like, it's a first fill bourbon barrel. So you do have this sort of a fresh bourbon sort of profile, which is a lot of caramel and vanilla. I got a lot of that at first, sort of like a classic bourbon matured spirit from Speyside. But there is a sort of essential oil. There's something going on that it's difficult to describe.
And that's what I got first. I got that like kind of herbal, like punch up front.
Maybe like sandalwood a little bit. I don't know if it's just me.
This is wild. I was not expecting this nose on this whiskey. This is a surprise.
Yeah, it's wild. You're right. It's so unexpected, but it's not, just to articulate for everybody. Like, it's not one, and Jenna, if you feel otherwise, please tell me, but I feel like it's in familiar territory still. Like there's some really unique sort of oil or like I keep going to sandalwood notes, but it's nothing like really off the wall. It's sort of like a comfortably familiar Speyside, just like a unique single cask.
Yeah, this is just a really unique. Yeah, you still have like those classic undertones are still there, but what kind of surrounds that are these like kind of fun herbaceous notes, and then I'm getting like that, like that mentholy tiger balm-ness, and then like plants. It smells like plants.
60.7%, really. Mm-hmm. It's there. Cool. I think that Jenna, when you were just describing that menthol sort of the tiger balm, I feel like this is not the first tiger balm whiskey we've had. Mm-mm. But you mentioned it the last time, and I went back and my wife had tiger balm, and so I checked it. Yeah, but I had to finish the sample, so I couldn't go back and forth. I'll have to say some of this to do that, but that's really present on the palate. Like the menthol.
Yeah.
And menthol, I feel like when you describe menthol, somehow, for some people that might be a turnoff because you think of like, I'm a non-smoker, but menthol cigarettes are pretty gross.
No.
It's a very sort of natural herbal note,
like
right?
Spearmint, a mintiness. It's like a minty, like that refreshing, like your mouth feels cold after you drink it. Like you've just like chewed gum or eat a mint or something. It has that, but it's not like spearmint. It's more herbal than sweet to me. I'm going to read the tasting notes. So it says, exotic, mysterious, and bristling with notes of grasses, herbs, unusual greenery, blink and you'll miss the fruits, and nuances of spice. I definitely get the like grassy plant herbaceousness to this. What do you think?
I felt like I had it figured out the first time around, but now that I've gone back, like there's more to it, the second time around. And for me, some of those classic notes of the bourbon profile has sort of faded away. Yeah. And now more of, I think after tasting and getting to that minty freshness, I get more of the herbaceousness is, I think, more dominant now. It's really wild.
Mm-hmm. And wild as in like, of the earth.
And really strong. I mean, wild in the sense that it's youthful. I haven't even had water.
Yeah.
And there's a lot going on.
And I just love the name. Fun Time Party Greenhouse. It's a great name.
Jose says, nice change of scenery, Ben. I decided to put the other side of the table from which I've normally been streaming. I'm glad you appreciate that. I just wanted to look out at the window as opposed to look at the kitchen all day. So it's, I was wondering if anyone noticed.
Yeah, I'm not going to add water. There's like
Oh, I did. And I'm glad I did.
This is like changing, even in the short time that it's been in my glass. I feel like this is evolving into something different just in the short time that it's been poured.
I had a healthy amount of water. They brought a lot of like milk chocolate. Like this is layer upon layer here.
Yeah, this is one of those whiskeys that you could really sit down with for an hour and just dig into and dissect, and you would have plenty of subject matter to really get into on this kind of whiskey.
Evan says, regarding the bourbon profile, is it minty herbaceous on the finish? Something I get, and sometimes I get an over oaked menthol in some younger bourbons, but it's more ethyl burn. Let me go back and chase the finish.
I felt like the finish was more like fresh. Like when you brush your teeth and you like take a big deep breath in and it's like your mouth is cold. That's what I got more off of this.
The temperature element is weird because it is. Oh, sorry, phone's ringing. Like the first whiskey we had just now, the 135.19, was a warming whiskey, and there is sort of like a coldness to it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
They're like kind of opposites. You get that warm coziness, and then this is like, if I were to paint a picture, I don't know, you're like running through the snow or something with a bathing suit on, or I don't know, something wild and crazy you wouldn't normally do, like having party in a greenhouse.
It's been a while since I've done that. Bathing suit, snow run. But like that, I think that picture checks out. I think it is wild and free. Yeah.
Yeah. This is definitely a wild and free whiskey.
All right, we're losing it here. Let's move on.
All right, number three. All right, so the third one is, keep dinging glasses together. All right, so the next one is going to be cask 44.127. This is called Skinny Sipping. This is in our spicy and sweet flavor profile. This is a 15-year Speyside at 56% ABV from a Refill X bourbon barrel.
Nice. Love the name.
Yeah.
Skinny Sipping in the snow.
There's a theme here.
There's a theme. Oh man, where do I? So spicy and sweet. I'll have to admit, spicy and sweet flavor profile was off my radar for years and years until Jenna, I think a couple of the tastings ago. I mean, I've enjoyed the whiskeys. I've just never really, I don't know, it hasn't been for my palate so much. But a couple months ago, we did a tasting here on YouTube and Facebook, and it blew me away by this spicy and sweet whiskey. I was absolutely blown away. And now ever since then, I think I've had a few, and they've just been absolutely, I don't know, so either I've changed or I don't think the profile's the same, but I've really been into it all of a sudden, which is a bit of a revelation for me.
Yeah, I think whiskey is, I think your mood has such a big part to do with it. At least for me, it does. I think that, I don't know, there's just certain whiskeys that get you and you're not sure why. And maybe that's what you've experienced, is just some whiskeys that have kind of tugged at your heartstrings a little harder than normal.
Yeah.
So But yeah, it's nice to see this 15. I'm a believer that, you know, this is kind of a sweet spot for Scotch. I'm always excited to see that number on a bottle.
Quick poll for you guys, if you don't mind. For anybody, for fellow society members, which flavor profile have you been gravitating towards recently, if at all? I know some members, you like to choose your whiskeys based on a lot of different factors, but I know a lot of us also go for the flavor profiles. Is there one that sticks out at you lately? You know, the spicy and sweet, which is the purple one, has been surprising me. Jenna, what about you? Well, maybe start with you. But
of what I've been enjoying, I think recently, I'm still kind of in that spicy and dry flavor profile. I've just really been into those, and the young and sprightly. But these, I think the juicy oak and vanilla are becoming more and more surprising to me, and I'm enjoying those more and more. Whereas, you know, when I first got into the society, I was like an oily and coastal girl, like the whole way through. Like that was my flavor profile, and that's what I gravitated towards. But I'm definitely expanding.
Yeah. Alex Crank says juicy oak and vanilla, which is, for me, that's been, I feel like last year I just started falling in love with juicy oak and vanilla. It's getting off topic here, and I don't want to go too far, but it's always interesting to hear from members and sort of what they're enjoying, because I think if you're like me, the preferences change all the time. Oily and coastal says Rob. Bill says young and sprightly. There's again, young and sprightly, I think, are really coming through these days. And John Paul says oily and coastal as well. Deep, rich, and dried fruit, spicy and dry have historically been my faves, and says Sunday evening Scotch. And Kyle Cummins says oily and coastal has been my go-to lately. Well, you're probably in luck. We won't get ahead of the game, but
slow down, Ben. Slow down.
Yeah, it's always good to hear that, because this is, for me, has been such a. I've been fascinated by the profile lately.
Yeah, I think I have a pretty decent selection of these spicy and sweets. All right, I'm going in.
Oh man. Just said, oh man.
Wow.
There's an instant familiarity, I thought, for me, the aroma. Like it had a very classical sort of in construct. The aromas were just classical Speyside, you know, creamy vanilla, orchard fruit, drizzled in honey. There's a lot more going on the palate.
Yeah, I feel like this packs more of a punch at 56% than the ones we had prior to. I think this is a very robust whiskey. Beautiful, that creamy mouthfeel. And then I'm getting like little undertones of like tea, like black tea, or that. Have you ever had the tea? I think it's called Constant Comment or Constant. It's like a black tea with like orange spice in it.
I have not.
Yeah, that's what this is reminding me of. Like drinking a hot glass of that tea.
I got a lot of like a warm oak, like a milk. There was a definite milk chocolate on the palate, but the depth of this one, like there's more of sort of it's more of an exotic profile, I would say. Like overall, the spices, the interplay between the spices. There's like a wisp of smoke, but obviously it's not a peated whiskey. I got such a faint amount, almost like maybe it's like a burning incense type of character. Is that just me?
See that? Yeah, I could definitely see that. Definitely more on that exotic profile, though. I agree with you there. But yeah, I'm just kidding. This is like a hot cup of tea.
It's so pleasant.
Again, perfect for fall. A hot cup of tea.
This 15 years, you know, age is just, of course, one factor that contributes to the flavor and the character of a whiskey, but it has that sort of mid-teen profile in which it has enough youth and vibrancy to really just it wakes you up. Like it's, wow, this is an intense whiskey, but there's enough going on. It's spent enough time in the oak in which I think some of the flavors have melded together. You know, it just tastes, this is such a lame analogy, like a well-cooked steak. Or no, not a steak. Like a slow cook. It tastes like you would if you cook a soup in 1 hour versus 10 hours.
Yeah.
A big difference. And the way that the flavors melt together remind me of sort of like a slow cooked.
It's a crock pot whiskey, is what you're saying.
Thank you.
Yeah, I agree. I think that there is a lot happening here, and I think you really get that element of maturity and also that element of what you said of it still being youthful. And yeah, this is comforting whiskey to me. Really beautiful. I'm gonna be tasting it, if you don't mind. So it says complex and extremely enjoyable. Agree. Malt whiskey au naturel for carefree afternoon contemplation. Nuances of waxes, teas, and soft cereals.
I think that's so interesting. The malt whiskey au naturel, like it is a single refill ex-bourbon barrel, and it's spirit. So for me, the oak is there, but it's more of a spirit-driven profile. And usually, when we talk about spirit-driven profiles, you get the flavor of the spirit is the dominant force. It's usually in the younger whiskeys when a whiskey hasn't had much time,
like the Young and Sprightly's.
Yeah, exactly. But this one has sort of a mature spirit profile, and that's it. You know, the fruits that have sort of over-ripened a little bit. The vanillas are creamy. I don't know. It's just everything is sort of evolved, and I love it. It is classic. It's nothing too funky.
Nope.
It's not a knock for or against it. I love that it is like a very natural.
Yeah, and I think this is like a great kind of end of the day. Like after dinner, you sit down by the fire or on your couch and, ready to watch a movie. Like this is literally a cup of tea whiskey. I don't know how else to describe it. That's a good one.
Just add a little bit of water real quick. I saw some comments coming in too again about the profiles. It seems like I think there are some similarities. The question earlier was sort of which profiles are sticking out to you lately, or what have you been enjoying? There's some similarities, but it's interesting to always see just the variety across the board. I think we all have different preferences, and they always change.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think in this time next year when we're doing our next September Mid-Month Outturn, we'll have very different ideas of what is our kind of favorite flavor profile and the things that we're kind of gravitating toward, because I think that's part of the reason they call it a journey, is because it's always changing. It's always taking you somewhere different. And it's just, this is where we are now. So it'll be interesting to see where we're at in a year.
Yeah, I'll be probably preaching the merits of lightly peated. You'll be
deep, rich, and dried fruits.
Old and dignified or bust. Like, I think who knows where we'll be in a year, but it's fun. I think it's fun over time, Jenna. I mean, we've been enjoying whiskey for so many years. It's fun to, I'm at the point now where I like something, then I wrote it off and I like something else.
Yep.
And then I've gone back to like my roots a little bit. And I don't know. I feel like things come full circle and then they fall out of phase again. But it's just a big sort of roller coaster of whiskey preferences for me.
It really is. And I think too, because there's such a variety out there, it's so hard, at least for me, to like stay in one lane, because there's so many lanes and there's so many like routes for adventure. And that's what I really love personally about the society, is that, we can really go anywhere here. Yeah.
Well, the first ones were amazing. And they're also different. But I'm pretty stoked for this one. But Tony, neither of you have mentioned the word sweet. Might this one cross over to another profile? What do you think?
I don't know. But the fourth one?
Tony, were you referring to the third one we just had, the 44.127? It's spicy and sweet. But you're right. We didn't describe it as being sweet.
Yeah. I don't find it to be like overly sweet. I think there's definitely a sweet element to it, but it's not an overpowering kind of sweet. What would you say?
Yeah, rarely are there really, really sweet whiskeys. And I think that you're right. Sweet is used in a couple profiles, spicy and sweet, or sweet, fruity, and mellows. But it's not sort of a tart or sugary sweetness. I guess some are. I mean, we've had some that are, but those are sort of enigmas. Generally, I think the whiskeys in the profile are just a touch of sweetness.
Yeah, like natural sweetness.
Yeah, You are the baker pro. Yeah, no, that exactly. It's like a natural sort of like fruit sweetness, maybe. Yeah.
Well, we have been to a party in a greenhouse where we have met our easy lover, and then we have run through the snow in a bathing suit. So let's go to the beach. All right. So the last one, and this is my original favorite flavor profile that I, first started in on my journey with the society. So this is 93.131 Campfire Treats on the Beach. This is a 14-year Campbelltown at 59.8% from a first fill ex-bourbon barrel. This one matches my hair too.
There is no brown flavor profile color to society. Otherwise, it would be matching with my hair.
Yeah.
Just
yes.
We're more exciting than that, I guess.
If anybody asks what my hair color is, I'm going to describe it as oily and coastal.
Right away, I mean, oily and coastal is talking about flavor profiles, not one we see as often anymore. It's harder and harder to come by. Campbelltown whiskey in general has become some of the most sought after, maybe one of the most sought after, if not the most sought after region all of a sudden. I'm trying to think if that's really true. I just know that, of course, there's a lot of reasons are popular for different reasons, but Campbelltown certainly has risen in popularity over the last 12 to 24 months here in the U.S. chapter of the society. So it's I'm always excited to see one, and we've been very fortunate to have a few coming out, in recent months. But this one, first fill. If you show me a first fill ex-bourbon barrel from Campbelltown, I'm pretty stoked.
And this was distilled in March. That's a great month.
What's the distillation date? Does it say on the?
It is the 21st of March, 2005.
That's your birthday is when?
Mine's the 11th.
Yours is 11th. Okay.
And yours is the year before me, right?
Mine is the 2nd. Yes.
The 2nd.
Yeah.
Pisces babies.
Pisces babies. Swimming in the sea.
Although I think this is technically an Aries whiskey, right?
Oh, you don't. I cannot validate.
I don't know.
Or deny that. I'm sorry. Anybody you can tell us? There's got to be someone who can tell us. March 21st. You said. What is this?
Yeah.
I gotta tell you, this is a classic Campbelltown whiskey. Like it has that sort of seaweed brine, a little bit of funk to it, but I think the first fill bourbon barrel and like sort of the bright sort of acidity from that, is and that creamy sort of toffee notes are all right there, and I love those things combined.
I don't find this to be like, I definitely get that briny element, but I'm also finding like an undertone of like baked goods, like a baked sweetness, and I don't know if that's like in my head just because we've been talking about it, and after work today I'm going to want to bake a cake or some kind of pastry, but there's definitely that coastal brininess with like an undertone of baked goods.
Kyle says this one would be great to taste side by side with bacon on a bonfire. Yeah, I can tell you just off of memory right here, very, very different. It would be, that was a same distillery 93, another Campbelltown whiskey that we released a few years older. But right away, this, I haven't tasted it yet. I'm just watching your reaction here.
I will be silent until you do. I don't want to, influence you.
Mm. Maybe 59.8.
59.8.
I really like a cold coastal character for me. Is that not what you got? Or
I don't. This is
the opposite.
I'm like sitting on a dock in Campbelltown at the end of the dock, and I have a giant just bucket of sweets, of pastries. I stopped at the bakery on the way to the dock, and I'm getting all of those coastal aromas. Like I'm passing the boat, and there's like fresh fish on the boat, and I'm getting whiffs of that. And then I'm getting that on the palate, like a little bit of saltiness. And then I'm sitting down, dangling my feet off the dock in Campbelltown, and I'm just stuffing my face with all of these just brilliant pastries. That is this whiskey. Can you tell I miss traveling? I really wish I was doing that right now.
God. I would love to go there. Yeah.
It's like, it really is oily. I'm watching it in the glass and it's just, the legs are just, there's just tears coming all the way down the inside of my glass. This is Campfire Treats at the Beach.
Such a unique, I think back to, if you're new to malt whiskey, this is such a bizarre profile. Imagine coming across this for the first time. Again, if you were to think back, it's so out there, but I think over the years you come to appreciate it. It's so welcoming. Like, if you really get into that oily and coastal profile, the notes of the sea and all the salinity, I think it's fantastic. I didn't get all the sort of the baking element that you got.
There's this undertone of like bread and sweetness that I'm getting, but not like sticky sweetness. Like if you were to eat, like a pound cake or a croissant or something along those lines, there is a definitely baked sweetness undertone here. This is good.
Bill asked, "What do I have in response to that?" Is that to the picture that you have painted, Bill?
Where does this whiskey take you?
That was very thorough. I don't remember what it's like to be out.
I know.
I've been here for a long time. I haven't traveled. I don't remember the taste of strawberries.
I'm going to read the tasting notes. It says, a doused peat fire, wood char, and tar. Diluted notes of maple baked apples, finished with smoky sweet crab meat chowder.
Yeah, I think the meat chowder is interesting. It's a beautiful whiskey. I just want to just stop going on about it. It's a beautiful whiskey.
It is.
Love the interplay between the warmth of the baked goods that you described. For me, it's fainter, but I love the interplay between that and sort of the coastal nature of the spirit. It's warm and cold at the same time. It's a very polarizing profile, and I love that. And also, Christine says she wants to travel with you. So,
where are we going?
Yeah, and anywhere.
I'm ready.
Yeah, it was over a year ago. I think Tom Smith, if you're watching this, Tom might be in the chat. You guys know Tom. Now that the new famous YouTube star, Tom Smith, our colleague, he and I went to Campbelltown and sat on the dock, dangling our feet.
Oh,
we didn't eat any pastries. And I'm just thinking back to like trying to, it's such a distant memory now after having a pandemic being locked in. But I'm just thinking, man, if I was eating treats, would that be this? And I think probably so. I think that's just spot on.
Wow. The beautiful thing is, since we can't travel right now, or, it's difficult to travel right now, the beautiful thing is that these whiskeys can really paint a picture for us and, take us there, even if it's in our own living room. And I think that's pretty special.
Yeah, I think that's just a wonderful thing about whiskey.
Yep.
How it can transport your mind through memory and just
absolutely.
So this is a special one for that.
I may have to revisit this one later.
I'm gonna pull this one up. We do have 2 more coming. I want to just kind of share the list.
Yeah, share that list.
We've tasted 4. We have 6. And let me. So beyond this, I'll show you guys real quick. Can you see that? All right.
I can see it.
Yeah. So, we haven't tried 1.227 of Merry Adventure. Another Distillery One bottling that we have been very lucky to have a few lately. Spicy and dry, 8 years old, first fill barrel. I think we've seen in such a variety from Distillery One in terms of sherry casks and bourbon casks. This is a really sort of bright, what I expect to be sort of a zesty first fill bourbon barrel. The 113.27, we had that one today, 135. The one that we haven't had is this 66. 169, and something tells me, hold on. Spent Lees on toast. Is that a typo? That is what it says. Spent
Lees on toast.
Spent Lees on toast. That is correct. That is it. I wanted to make sure it wasn't spent less on toast. I don't know what that would mean.
Spent Lees on toast.
Lightly peated 14-year-old Highland. I just
Nice.
I'm personally such a fan and have become such a fan of the lightly peated sort of Highland whiskeys. And I just think there's so much. I love the interplay between just a little wisp of smoke and sort of a big, bold Highland spirit. Anyway, I'm excited for that one.
Yeah. We have another 66 in the shop right now. That's a little bit older than that. That's been absolutely just beautiful. And I actually had a call from a member today who was hiking in the Tetons and called with that whiskey and just wanted to call and say, hey, thank you so much for recommending this. It is absolutely amazing. And he's describing his scenery to me. And it was a moment. Yeah.
Wow. Another travel jealousy.
Those 66s are pretty special. They've been really, really delightful. So I'd be excited to taste that one as well.
Yeah. So that's it. I mean, those are the 6 we have coming out tomorrow. 1 o'clock Eastern time is the time they're released. Hit us up anytime before that if you'd like. Any questions, of course, just shoot us an email at info@smwsa.com. Give our call team because we're available during business hours to just talk through the selection and really help you find something that suits your palate. So if this wasn't, helpful enough, we'll talk about it. I think that's the whole thing, is like getting to know what you like instead of us. And find a whiskey there, because that's the best thing. So,
wow, this was fun.
Thanks for this. I'm about to go back to some of these and kind of enjoy them on my own time while working here. But I'm really excited for this, and I feel like the selections lately have been really kind of delightful, to say the least.
Wow. Cool. Cheers, Ben.
See you guys. Good luck tomorrow with the release and everything.
Yes, 1 o'clock Eastern time tomorrow.
Cheers.
These will be live on the website. Cheers.